Ladies and gentlemen, this hearing before New Britain Township Zoning Hearing Board is called to order. In preparation for our business this evening, I asked everyone to silence your cell phone, put them in do not disturb, whatever you have to do, so we can have some continuity. Thank you. And for your information, this, like all township meetings, is being recorded and shared via virtual meeting. The camera is above you there in the middle of the room. A few introductions before we get started. To my far right is Brian Gaiman. He's the Assistant Zoning and Planning Officer. TJ Walsh is a solicitor for the Zoning Hearing Board. Kathy Vasili is a member of the Zoning Hearing Board. Scott Fisher is a member of the Zoning Hearing Board. Ryan Wants is an alternate to the Zoning Hearing Board. David Conroy is a Zoning and Planning Officer. Our court reporter tonight is Brenda Capiello. My name is Chuck Hoxhead. I'll be chairing this meeting. A little housekeeping. The New Britain Township Zoning Hearing Board is a quasi-judicial body required by the statute of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and created by the New Britain Township Board of Supervisors. This board is chartered with a single responsibility to provide due process to the citizens of New Britain Township to appeal zoning and engineering decisions made by the township. The zoning ordinance was created and is maintained by the New Britain Township Board of Supervisors. This zoning hearing board has no jurisdiction over the contents of the zoning ordinance. We ask that any concerns regarding the contents of the zoning ordinance be directed to the Board of Supervisors. Procedures for tonight's hearing shall be as follows. We shall conduct the hearing in a manner similar to that of a court proceeding, and all testimony shall be recorded by our stenographer. All affected parties shall have the opportunity to present factual testimony this evening, and all testimony must be given under oath. Only the facts and testimony presented to the board during this hearing will be considered. The board will first hear the applicant's presentation of their case. The board expects the applicant to state the unnecessary hardship, how the proposal will not be detrimental to the public welfare, and any other grounds the applicant believes support the application. The board will also hear from any other individuals who wish to become parties to this hearing, and you'll hear more about that later. After the testimony is concluded, the board will hear from anyone who simply wishes to make a statement or ask a question that is relevant to the hearing. Depending on the length of the hearing, the board may or may not make a decision on the application or applications this evening. Our first hearing shall be for the application of 17 Kathryn Rd. Mr. Gaiman, will you please read the public notice and place the application on record?
The application of Stephen Barcy for the property located at 17 Kathryn Rd, New Britain Township, Bucks County, Pennsylvania, identified as tax map parcel number 262138. Property is located in the RR residential zoning district. The property is improved with a detached single-family residential dwelling, use B1, and a detached accessory residential shed, use H2. The applicant proposed an addition to the shed. The applicant seek a variance from the New Britain Township zoning ordinance, section 27-305 H2B1 to permit the shed with the addition to be in the front yard along Ashley Drive where a shed is prohibited in the front yard.
Thank you, sir. Before we go on to the next part of our hearing, who is here for the 17 Kathryn Rd hearing? Just you, sir. You can step up and have a seat if you like. Mr. Walsh, will you please read the board exhibits?
Yes, sir. They are as follows. Exhibit V1 is the zoning hearing board application submitted by Mr. Barcy. Am I pronouncing your name right, sir?
Yes.
The application is dated June 22nd of this year. Included with the application is the current deed dated April 29th, 1987, a list of surrounding property owners, as well as an elevation and floor plan. Exhibit B2 are separate site plans of the property showing options for the shed addition. Exhibit B3 is a letter to the intelligencer forwarding public notice of this hearing. Exhibit for publication. Exhibit B4 is the public notice that was just read into the record. Exhibit B5 is proof that that notice was published in the August 3rd and August 10th, 2023 editions of the intelligencer. Exhibit B6 is a letter to the applicant providing him notice of this hearing. Exhibit B7 is the township list and map of property owners of record that are within 500 feet of the property that is the subject of the application. Exhibit B8 is an affidavit of mailing that the township mailed notice of this hearing to the property owners listed on Exhibit B7. That notice was mailed on August 3rd by Ryan Gaiman. Exhibit B9 is an affidavit of posting. The notice of this hearing was posted on the property. Mr. Gaiman also posted the property. He posted that on August 4th. And with that affidavit is a photograph of the actual posting on the property. Lastly, Exhibit B10 is a Bucks County viewer aerial and map of the property.
Thank you, sir. Will you please explain party status?
Sure. Is there anyone here for this first application? Is there anyone here other than you, sir? We already got your answer. Is there anyone in the room who is not otherwise an applicant or a witness for one of the later applications? Meaning, is there anybody here just from the public that's interested?
I have two people here in writing.
No, we'll.
Letters.
No.
So we'll handle that.
We'll handle it. Just talk,
Like
I'm just addressing the
any-
people.
Received a letter notifying them about a zoning application within the area that they live.
Okay, so
Okay, yeah.
this is to basically then, I believe, the four in the rear rows of this half of the room. So there's, as the chair indicated, this is a court-like hearing. It's meaning, and what that means is all the testimonies under oath. The board ultimately renders a decision, and if the applicant or any other party to the application, which I'll get to in a second, doesn't like that decision, you have a right to appeal it to court. It doesn't go to the township, it goes to court. Okay, that's what they say, quasi judicial. There's three ways you can participate in this hearing if you are not either the person who filed the application, the property owner, or a witness for that property owner, for the applicant. The first way is you don't have to do anything. You can sit and listen. You are not obligated to say anything. Your attendance here is sufficient enough if that's all you want to do. The second way is like the public comment that some people are accustomed to that happens at a Board of Supervisors meeting. As the chair indicated in his opening remarks, the board will open the floor up at the end of all of the testimony, whether it's by the applicant or anybody who's a party. At that point, anyone who just wants to make a comment, ask a question, that will be the opportunity for you to do that. We just ask that the comment be germane to this hearing and not necessarily some comment or question that would have to be directed to a different board. Okay. And the third way you can be involved in this hearing is to become an actual party. A party puts you on the same level or the same, you stand at the same kind of in the same footsteps or the footprints of what the applicant is, somebody who submitted the application. So if you have to ask for party status, if you are a party, then you have the opportunity to put on your own case. You can put on your own testimony. You can put on your own witnesses. And often the times people are either becoming a party status because they want to get the decision mailed to them, they're opposing the application, or they have something other than just a passing interest. Okay. If you are a party and your status is granted and you don't like the decision of the board, like the applicant, you can appeal that to court. So how do you get it to be a party? You're not obligated to, number one. Number two, you have to ask for it. And number three, you have to be affected by the application. Affected means you either own or live on property that's within a reasonable distance of the property that's subject to the application. So if you got a letter in the mail for the application, you're affected. Okay. If you didn't get a letter, that doesn't mean you're not affected. We just have to hear the board decides party status. They just have to hear what impact or what the proximity of your property is to the property that's subject to the application. Okay. I'm hoping I didn't lose everybody. And since everybody is in the room, I hope to not have to do that 2 more times because we have 2 more applications. Is there anybody who's interested in party status for this first matter involving 17 Kathryn Rd? Right. Okay, seeing none, I will ask that same question for the other 2 when we open those hearings. So thank you.
Thank you. Will you please swear in our witness?
Do you swear or?
Thank you so much. You may present your case.
Okay, so I have a property corner lot that I'm being held with two frontages. And I would like to encroach into one of those so that I can extend my storage shed and basically turn it into a hobby shed. Someplace where I'm transitioning into retirement. I have lots of tools and equipment. I am a building contractor. I want to be able to put everything away and still have room to do my hobby stuff. I believe that this addition is going to be an asset to all of my neighbors. It's not taking away from anybody. It's going to improve my property value, which will elevate everybody else's. The lot is actually larger than my immediate neighbors, but I appear to have a smaller building inventory.
Well, you have two front yards.
Right.
A lot of people don't realize that when they get a corner lot that they don't have, that they have two front yards. Any yard you have abutting a street is considered that.
Mhm.
And typically a zoning ordinance imposes a different set of rules for a front yard than it does for rear and side. Which street is your house oriented towards, Mr. Parsons?
Faces Kathryn.
So the side of the house that's facing Ashley is more or less a sidewalk.
I have photographs.
That would help. Whatever you would like to introduce at your record.
Area.
Is this your only one of these? Or do you have multiple? Or do you-
I have access to more.
No, it's fine. I just want to know. I'm gonna mark this as applicant's exhibit A1. It's an aerial black and white photo of the property showing the corner lot.
You see the shed in the back.
Marking as A2, another
little different.
aerial photo of the property, but from a different angle vantage point. Make sure she can hear you.
Right.
Brenda's taking everything down.
I submitted two options. They thought so be allowed. by the Zoning board. So option one would be the larger. Up to two. And then we have option.
That's the one that says first option on the top. Well, so both of those are marked as exhibit collectively as B2 because they came in with the application, but if you'd like us to mark them as A3 and A4, it's okay to have it repetitive, just so we can know which one we're referring to. I can do that. Which one would you like to be A3 and which one would you like to be A4?
I guess A3 would be option one.
Okay, so we'll mark this as the hand-drawn site plan. That's one of the two that's marked as exhibit 2. We'll remark that individually as A3. That's option 1. And A4 is what's called second option.
I'm asking for more relief on A3 than I am on A4.
So you're seeking the variance, so under the first option, the closest wall of the shed following the addition would be 46 feet from the right of way. Option 2 would put it basically at the 50-foot
Right.
setback line. Okay. Okay, you have anything else? Go back.
Have a letter that came from my neighbors.
All right, why don't you hold on to those for a second? We handle this a little differently. Yeah, this is A4. In the market, yeah.
That's exactly what that is. A3 is option 1. We have that A4 option. The difference is effectively 4 feet.
Do you know that if that's the curb line, Mr. Barty, that is shown, that you're drawing that to, or is that the
To the right of way.
right of way? So what's the distance then from the right of way to the curb line, if you know?
12 feet.
So in essence, that's another 12 feet of
To the street.
utility sidewalk within that 12 feet to, until you hit the cartway? More or less?
Yep.
Okay. So really that wall is 58 feet from the curb. Okay.
Mr. Barcy, thank you for the pictures, first of all. Thank you for coming so well prepared. What's the design of the shed? What's now?
What is the existing?
Yeah, what's the existing shed? What?
A carriage shed.
Okay.
So it has,
Oh, okay.
you see it?
Yeah.
It has a large overhang on the front.
Right.
With a shorter roof, but then it has
Let's see.
a longer slope in the back. The new shed would have a ridge that will run perpendicular to that existing ridge line.
Mhm. And is the style going to be similar in the addition?
It's, when it's all said and done, it'll look like it's 100 years old.
Okay. And the door, it looks like that's a door on what I would say toward what you think of as the front of your home in that
That is
direction.
Kathryn Rd.
Yeah, is that a garage door? Is that swinging doors? What is
That's
that?
a single door that's made of planks that I built. That is
Cause it looks very wide.
54 inches wide, I think. Well, that's so I can get a lawnmower in and out of there.
Got it. So, but that's only on the existing shed then,
Right.
and there's not one proposed for the extension?
Yes, there is.
Oh, there is, okay.
I have a little drawing of that.
I think that's what he was
Yeah,
asking,
that-
the new,
I don't see that on here.
Right. I think it's this.
so in the application, you did a sketch of what I guess is existing,
Correct.
which has like a little lean-to.
Yeah, so that's option A4, I guess.
Well, that's not relevant. That part's not part of the relief because that's on
Yeah.
the other side.
That's.
And then the
that's
right side,
Smallest encroachment. Or the smallest amount.
and then the right side, I'm guessing is the proposed
Correct.
area.
And is that a door that I see facing
That will
Catherine?
be- Yeah, it'd be a
So it's an overhead, so it's like, okay, so, got it, that's what I was getting at. What's the width of that?
6,
The door?
it'd be 10.
10.
You could be the relief. To the plan.
And the depth is proposed to be 16?
Yes. I would call that the width. Bound width.
Fair, yeah, fair, yep. Very, very well understood.
So the difference between the two options, for option one is a 12 by 18, so 216 square feet.
Right.
And then for option two, it's 11.5 feet by 16 feet, which is like 184 square feet.
Yeah, what we have an existing that is 12 by 18. And then the least amount of relief that I am asking for would be for me to be able to build something that is 11 feet wide. That puts it on the 50-foot setback. And then as far as the depth of that, I guess that's not really important or relevant at this time. As long as we don't exceed our impervious surface.
Well, to my mind, what would make it relevant, and the reason why I asked about the depth and the width and the size of the overhead door is, does it become a quasi garage?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Sort of,
and so Because once it's erected, it's erected.
Yeah.
And we would not be the first time with all great intentions and then the property is sold and then we have a de facto different use based on our decision. That's why I was asking that line of questioning. So you're calling it a shed, but in the construction based on the dimensions, one might interpret it as a garage.
Correct.
Okay, and so that's potentially germane to the discussion. So that's why,
Yeah, I didn't know if that was an issue or not. I don't know.
yeah,
Does that make a difference?
Well,
I don't know.
I guess my question would be, since it is wide enough to be able to fit a vehicle and high enough to fit a vehicle, would you be taking your driveway?
No.
And expanding it back there?
Nope.
So you wouldn't be using it for everyday use? Cause you said you owned a business or you were in a construction business,
Right.
like you wouldn't be using it for plowing or seeding or,
No.
that kind of storage.
No.
Well, you laugh, but
Yeah. No,
maybe
I
you
have-
don't, but maybe in the future,
In the future, I'm gonna do a lot less than I'm doing now.
good for you.
That's.
So at this point, I have a little miniature Kubota tractor. Okay, it's only 4 feet wide. That I use for backfilling and grading some of the projects up here. And I also have a small trailer that I can haul that with. And as I transition into retirement, I'm not gonna pay to store that stuff in. I'm not really ready to get rid of it. So I'm just.
You can store it at your house and you can store it anywhere on their property. You just can't run a business with it.
No, I want it inside. I can't leave that stuff outside.
Right, and that
Do it
would-
any good.
Right, so that's oftentimes when the board sees a shed of this size that could accommodate construction style vehicles, the condition that's attached to it is. Guess what?
Yeah, we're
It's personal use.
Yep.
It's not to be conducted a business and it's
Not commercial.
not commercial, nothing. And then if somebody wants to do that in the future, if you were to sell it. That will run with the land. They would have to come back to the board and ask to have that removed or modified.
I've only been there 36 years. And
Lot more to go.
employed the whole time.
a lot more to go.
Propose any lighting on the shed? Like not inside, but outside?
I probably will, like,
Is electric the only utility you'll have into it?
I actually just ran electric to the existing shed.
But you're not planning on putting a bathroom or a sink or you don't?
Now,
Okay.
I did run a water line. Because I had an open trench. But there's no drain line, it's just for a hydrant, it's just so I can
Well, the next step beyond
wash.
somebody running a business out of it is then people will turn these into a apartment.
Yeah, and I like it once yeah.
It's gonna be-
anything's possible.
Well, I'm just gonna say, it's gonna be really not likely if the board restricts that, but
Sure.
when we ask the board asks these kind of questions, like you're gonna put electric, water, if the more utilities that go out to this, then the more likely it is somebody, I could make this an apartment, and that's not
Yeah,
doable.
Not, yeah,
That's a whole other zoning issue.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
That's not my intention.
And we appreciate that, we appreciate your attitude and your openness that
Yeah,
it's truly,
it's just for hobby stuff. I have a lot of bicycles, motorcycles.
I was gonna say toys.
Yeah.
The marks of the construction is 2x4s or
Whole building,
whole building,
the existing was a whole building.
okay. With fascia that they'll integrate together and it'll look like one bigger.
Yeah, like I said, the intention is to make it look like it's 100 years old when I'm done. So I will use a very dark paint / solid body stain on the outside of it. So that it looks kind of New England barn
Mhm.
type of thing.
Right, the aesthetic, right?
Yeah.
Plan to use the same. Basically, materials,
Well.
roofing, all that kind of stuff, try
Yeah,
to
the
integrate all,
roofing,
max it
yeah.
all together, right?
Yep, yes. And siding, it will be cement. Siding
Oh, okay.
with a 6.5 inch reveal, I believe it is. The existing shed is cedar. And that is a 4.5 inch exposure. And some of that needs to be replaced. I have a gable end up on, it's facing the southwest side. That has some stuff that's curling and it needs to be redone. So I'm gonna redo that with the cement siding.
How far from the garage or the residence is the shed
Exactly
approximately?
20 feet.
And do you have any fences or shrubbery that back there?
Yeah, there's a visual separation
Or
between.
for the
me-
for the record?
Right.
Yeah.
There are pine trees. 3 Douglas fir. That are probably 25 feet tall. That have
Thank you.
grown together to create a screen. So, it's hard to see. They don't actually screen the existing shed, but they will screen the proposed.
And those trees will remain, then you're not planning on cutting them down or anything
Yeah.
else, okay?
You said you had some letters from your neighbors.
I do,
Have you spoken to those neighbors?
of course,
And how do they feel about the project?
I like them.
They like it.
Yeah,
Okay.
the ladders will tell you that.
Okay.
And from what are the addresses of the letters, just so we understand the
The
proximity?
address.
Yeah.
Actually. 564 Ashley Drive,
And where is that proximate to your home?
that is right behind it.
Okay, what you consider to be good. Got it. Mhm.
Sheds.
Okay. Okay.
Chunk one,
Mhm.
their address is actually Mallard. But they are the neighbor on the left side. Looking at the house from Kathryn.
Another one with 2 front yards.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep. You see, there's a building pool there.
Mhm. See. It's not too- Any more? Anything more?
You have anything more to present, Mr. Parson? No? Okay. Anyone interested in making a comment on the application? Hearing none?
Thank you. We'll go off the record.
Okay, we'll just go back on the record. We'll take those letters collectively as
Thanks.
exhibit A. Where am I up to?
5, I think.
A5, thank you.
5 and 6, or?
We'll just put them as one. They'll both be A5. We keep
Good at
these?
that.
Okay, thank you. Okay, you can go have a seat.
Thank you. All right, we'll go back off the record. And then the logistics. Okay. Kathryn, you want to request assistance?
He always corrects. me.
I rarely have to.
These tend to. Just showing this morning looking to everybody. No disrespect to Mr. Fisher, extremely eloquent. Wow. All right, we're gonna go back on the record. Thank you. All right, we've completed our deliberations. With that said, do I have a motion?
A motion to conditionally approve, I believe it's option 1A3 exhibit, for the more, I guess it's 46 feet
Correct.
proposal.
The larger option.
And the conditions would be to not have a driveway extension go to the new proposed shed and existing shed. There be no businesses run from that location and no rental apartments or habitation in the existing and new sheds.
Those conditions acceptable? Absolutely.
Do I have a second?
I second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, you have your relief. You get a written decision within 45 days of today. In the interim, you can certainly still proceed with your project, but just understand if you do request permits and you begin to build, you build at your own risk until that
Okay,
decision and the appeal period has expired.
at this point, well, I have to get started on drawing to submit for an application.
You can do that anytime you like. That's the guy, you gotta talk to these two guys.
The drawing together, well,
Good luck with your project. All good.
Thank you, sir.
thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Anyone else? Who's gonna take?
Okay, thanks, Scott.
Scott's going to take a pause for the pause. I'm good. Anyone else?
Take a quick mini break.
Quick break. Go back on the record. Okay, folks, we're gonna get started. And we will not be going through all of the preamble and such. Everything that we've had to say still applies for all three of the hearings we're doing this evening. So with that said, our next hearing shall be for the application of 84 Callowhill Road. Mr. Gaiman, will you please read the public notice and place the application on record?
The application of Jane Moore for the property at 84 Callowhill Road, New Britain Township, Bucks County, Pennsylvania, identified as tax map parcel number 26-3142. The property is located in the WS watershed zoning district. The property is improved with a single-family detached residential dwelling, B1. The applicant proposes a fence, use H3 in the front yard. The applicant seeks a variance from New Britain Township zoning ordinance section 27-305 H3E1A to permit the fence in the front yard to be 6 feet high, but the maximum permitted fence height in the front yard is 4 feet.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Walsh, will you please read the board exhibits?
They are as follows. Exhibit B1 is a zoning hearing board application. Included with it is the deed, current deed dated October 31st, 2016, together with a list of property owners within 500 feet. Exhibit B2 is a hand-drawn site plan. Exhibit B3 is a letter to the intelligencer forwarding public notice. Exhibit B4 is the public notice that was just read into the record. Exhibit B5 is proof that that notice was published in the August 3rd and August 10th, 2023 editions of the Intelligencer. Exhibit B6 is a letter to the applicant providing her notice of this hearing. Exhibit B7 is the township list and map of property owners of record that are within 500 feet of the subject property. Exhibit B8 is an affidavit of mailing. That notice of this hearing was mailed to the property owners listed on Exhibit B7. That notice was mailed on August 3rd, 2023 by Ryan Gaiman. Exhibit B9 is an affidavit of posting. That notice of this hearing was posted on the property. That notice was posted by Ryan Gaiman on August 4th, 2023. Together with that affidavit is a photo that Mr. Gaiman took of the posting he made on the property. Lastly, Exhibit B10 is the Bucks County viewer aerial and map of the property.
Thank you, sir. Will you please swear our witnesses?
Do you swear or affirm testimony you give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
And we get both their names.
That's
Peterson.
and your close again. Moore.
Stolvoort. A lot of O's.
We also spell Moore, please. What had I asked?
Okay.
Thank you. Can you present your case?
Is a privacy screen in the form of a fence. It's 24 feet by 16 L off of my kitchen floor, which I call the side of my house, but again, being on a corner lot, I don't have a side lot. It would be 5 feet high, solid, and 1 foot lattice. Nice looking vinyl fence. Picture, but it's a good one. We're proposing that height because the lot is significantly below grade, which Ryan saw when he was out there. Creek very much, and Callowhill still. It does not impact our one, really, we only really have one neighbor that's attached to us that can see us. It doesn't obscure any sight lines at the intersection. It's way back from the road. It's not even gonna be out. It's not fencing the property. It's putting a little privacy screen outside of our kitchen door, where we sit out at times. Why do we want it? The traffic has increased exponentially in the last year. The noise is just amazing. With the new North Wales Water Project in particular, today we counted 16 dump trucks for that project honked their way through the intersection without stopping. Not all of them honked. Some of them just blew the stop sign altogether. Because the township, I understand from the chief of police that you asked that these trucks don't take Creek Road because it's a county because it's a township road. They've moved over to taking Callowhill, which is really steep right by our house. So they don't want to stop. And if they do stop, it's pretty noisy as it is. But anybody in a passenger car can look down on us. We have a 4-foot fence, it's meaningless. I didn't understand the corner lot business myself either. But where we've drawn it is at this side of the house. That is oriented because of a zoning, because of a survey issue long before I owned the house. The house is oriented towards Creek, but our address is on Callowhill.
The front door is to Creek Road.
Yes. It confuses FedEx, no. But I mean, in the seriousness, the noise, I cannot hear on the phone, I cannot hear watching television, I cannot hear when I have a Zoom meeting, people can't hear me. It completely obliterates any kind of communication. So we have all that going on during the week. On the weekends, every motorcycle club, and in particular, a luxury car club, go by our house all weekend. The luxury car club, I'm talking about Lotuses and Ferraris and things, very high performance cars. They tap their brakes, they hit 5th gear by the time they get to our driveway. It's very loud there now, and I can't afford it. And we get along great with the neighbors that we know on that side of the road, and we haven't heard any dissent. We did speak to our immediate neighbor.
And you said, and
She was fine.
she was fine?
Yeah.
Thank you.
You, Miss Mueller, look like you've lived there since 2011.
Yes.
Okay. And you just did a deed to yourself when you updated your name
Yes.
into the 2016. So actually the deed that came in with the application is just the most current deed, but your ownership actually goes back 5 years prior to that. So you've been there for 12 years. Okay. I see that. And the house was built in 1962, according to the county. The county's not always right. They say it's built 1962. It's a 1,500 square foot ranch home.
Oh, forget it then.
And the other thing is that they intend to close 313 near the tree farm, near the it would be east of Newgilly Road. And then that will be closed for some time. We expect that Callowhill Road will be the future.
One thing I would point out too is your house, these measurements, are you the 50 foot from Callowhill and the 75 feet, is that to the edge of the cartway? The one that's on the
edge of the road.
the edge of the road?
The edge of the road.
Okay, that's what I thought. As you, if you'd heard the prior applicant, sometimes they just,
Yeah, we did.
To the edge of the road.
and that's fine.
So if you look at the line, but it's really just like you would put in a. It's just, we like to sit off the kitchen at lunchtime because the shade is that way.
Okay.
You had stated that the building material you're planning on using is vinyl,
It's pre-made vinyl fencing from home to six.
and what color you
It's
proposing?
the same color as the house. It's called Adobe. It's basically a pale taupe.
So it will match the house.
I have a question on that, but it's for David and Ryan. Do you consider this fence one of those ones where the opaque ratio applies?
I did not, no.
You know the one I'm talking?
I didn't know style. I can find it.
Well, so the vinyl fence, if I heard it right, it's about 5/6 solid, 1/6 lattice, right? So that 5/6, can you see through that or is that totally solid?
It's all.
Solid, okay,
But again, it's not enclosing anything. It's just an L.
understood,
That's kind of just like this. table.
understood. So the zoning ordinance has this quirk
Mhm.
provision, and I'll just read it to you. and this is, don't worry, this is not gonna affect your application, we'll be able to take care of this. Any fence located in the front yard shall have a minimum ratio of 4:1 of opaque to non-opaque areas. And the board had a prior application if, basically about a block up from you, the house at the intersection of Ferry and where Callowhill turns into Park and Ferry, they put that wood fence up. So if you can imagine, the board, when they interpret that, that ordinance basically says a fence in the front yard can't be more than 80% opaque. So my suggestion would be to amend the application to include, because if you're 5'6", if it's five parts opaque and 1 part lattice, that's 5'6", that's like 83%. So you're above the 83, so it's not a problem. That's why I've asked them if they dealt with it, because if not, we'll just include it in the relief you're asking for. Yeah.
Just amending.
Thank
And you gentlemen don't have a problem with that? No, and frankly, the setbacks in the district are 100 feet with front yard, so your house is probably non-conforming. Yeah, the house itself is in the front yard on both sides.
Person who built the house told us that when they came to build the house, it was oriented incorrect. It was supposed to be the same as my neighbors on 84 facing Callowhill. However, when the construction crew got there, there was not enough room. So they, in the middle of construction, just picked the house up and turned it the other way. So we have a front door that faces creek that's never been used. There's no sidewalk, there's no driveway, creek. So the house is non-conforming in all kinds of ways, because the original maps were incorrect.
But the original survey, when they went to put the driveway in on Callowhill, they said there's already a driveway here. And that's one of my neighbor's 2 driveways.
So far off that the original driveway on 84 was supposed to be part of the driveway. Or 88, obviously.
Well, it's been there now for about 50 years. It's not gonna go, well, when you have
The issue of any older building in Bucks County.
you have a corner lot, which is a hardship in and of itself, plus your house already sits in both front yards, which I said is in the district you're in, the minimum front yard is 100. So if you were to build that new, you'd have to be 100 feet off each one of those streets. But you're not. Okay. Sort of riffing, but okay.
No, it's okay, it's helpful, thank you. Yes, sir, go for it.
Okay. So the design of the fence is for, to go 16 feet toward Callowhill, correct?
It's
So as I look at this plan, it goes 16 feet
right away from.
away from the house toward Callowhill. Okay. And then 24 feet toward your driveway. Okay. So is the intention for the fence to abut to the house to be right up against the house, or is there going to be a space between the house and the fence?
What it was, how it was chosen was sitting in a chair and trying to figure out what best gave some privacy without blocking a lot of view. It is not attached, like I said, it's fencing, nothing, really, it's a freestanding L. Yeah. It's kind of like this here.
So I guess the point of my question is how much space do you anticipate there being between the house and the fence?
No, from the far side, but from the at its nearest point, it's going to be about 10 feet.
It'd be about 10 feet from the house,
About 15 feet.
Okay. Okay. and then just for my orientation. Where is the kitchen door? Which I'm assuming is what you use mainly for your front door. Yeah, is that, almost centered on the fence?
Yes.
I mean, it'll be difficult to, it, I'll try to. I'll try to explain it in the notes.
So we go out here, and we sit out here, and there's little steps that go down to the,
Well, we can give that to TJ.
Okay,
okay.
what, so for my reference, how far off the corner of the house is the kitchen door?
Yeah,
Approximately, about 15 feet off the corner, that's closest to Creek Road, right?
Which Creek Road?
Or Creek Road, yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Actually, it's not very well done there.
No.
right?
Oh, that's fine. I just, for the purpose of, scenography and, okay. That answers my question sufficiently, thank you. Yeah.
Is there an existing like concrete patio or brick patio or anything there that you're going to like the privacy? Pavers existing already.
The doorway,
Is the 16-foot portion of the fence, that wall of it, is that going to be aligned with the plane of the building wall that faces Creek Road, or will it be behind it? But,
It will be slightly offset.
yeah,
correct,
Slightly offset.
offset it,
It won't exactly line up.
will it be closer to Creek Road or further back?
Closer to Creek Road.
Okay. And that's because of where the pavers are, it has to account for that.
because.
Whatever the-
Flower bed, we have a small tree there.
Okay.
So it might be beyond the tree.
Yeah, we've had to take down dozens of trees too, so we've lost shade, privacy from the.
Keeping the tree is a very good reason for lots of reasons.
Well, we've been planting some small ones, but we've had to take down the huge ones.
Thank you.
There are no utilities or anything disturbed by the fence or anything there.
They would have to, the
fence-
Yeah.
the fence company
would
would
have
have to.
Things above.
That's built.
That's it.
Are there any?
Anything further to add?
Things to add?
Hearing none.
Um,
Anybody else in the room have a
Anything?
comment or question?
Question?
Okay.
We'll go off the record. record. We've completed our deliberations. With that said, do I have a motion?
Make that motion as amended to grant the 6-foot fence in the front, AKA side yard and front, really all along Creek and Callowhill
And the, and
as proposed.
and the opaque ratio amendment you requested, right? Oh, I didn't hear that.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second,
All those in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Okay. You have your relief. You'll get a written decision within 45 days of today. In the interim, you can certainly work on your project and you can talk to David and Ryan about moving it forward pending the receipt of the application of the written decision.
So
Excuse
we
me.
have to talk.
They can help you. Yep.
Yeah.
You need a fence permit. That's your next step. Good luck with your project. Good luck with your project. Yes, took care of that for you. No worries. Good luck. Just when I was looking at it, I'm like, just had this thing go off and like, brain this run. I didn't know what kind of fence it was. So I'm like, maybe it's like a post and rail fence. And then I looked at the picture.
Third full-time job was for the town and then took it for.
Need a recommendation for a mic so people can't hear the noise. I'll help you out. Yeah, you need noise canceling over the ears and you need a mic that is of a certain design that doesn't pick up the noise from other areas. Yeah. I agree with that. Every week.
To drown out teenage kids.
Yeah, so I literally will have I'll literally have the landscapers under my open window. They cannot hear it.
Really?
Yes.
Because I'll be on Zoom calls or Teams calls and if I'm working on it, so my kids out there, person that is with buddies on playing whatever they're playing. Yeah. Or video games. Yes.
Yeah, the mic design actually helps a lot. Okay. Okay. Our next hearing will be for the property at 104 South Limekiln Pike. Mr. Gaiman, will you please read the public notice and place the application on record?
Side, property located at 104 South Limekiln Pike, New Britain Township, Bucks County, Pennsylvania, and is identified as tax map parcel number 26-8-143. The property is located in the RR residential zoning district. Property is improved with a detached single-family residential dwelling, use B1. The applicant proposes to subdivide the property into 3 lots and conduct a single-family semi-detached dwelling, use B3, on the 2 new building lots. The applicant seeks a special exception pursuant to the Britain Township zoning ordinance, section 27-901B and section 27-31 of the to permit the B3 use.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Walsh, will you please read the board exhibits?
They are as follows. B1 is the application. Included with the application is the current deed dated June 17th, 2022, and the list of property owners within 500 feet. Exhibit B2 is a zoning exhibit plan. It's 1 sheet prepared by Cowan Associates. It bears an origination with date of July 14th, 2023 with no revisions. Exhibit B3 is a letter to the intelligencer. Exhibit B4 is the public notice that was just read into the record. Exhibit B5 is proof that that notice was published in the August 3rd on August 10th, 2023 editions of the Intelligencer. Exhibit B6 is a letter to the applicant providing a notice of this hearing. Exhibit B7 is the township list and map of property owners of record within 500 feet of the property. That's the subject of the application. Exhibit B8 is an affidavit of mailing. That notice of this hearing was mailed to those property owners listed on Exhibit B7. That notice was mailed on August 3rd, 2023 by Ryan Gaiman. Exhibit B9 is an affidavit of posting that notice of this hearing was posted on the property. That notice was posted on by Ryan Gaiman on August 4th, and with that affidavit is a photograph of the posting. Lastly, Exhibit B10 is a Bucks County viewer aerial and map of the property.
Thank you, sir.
So everyone was in the room. I'm assuming that the two gentlemen at the table are the witnesses. Are you both going to testify?
I'm gonna testify. The owner is here to answer any questions.
Okay. And everyone else is an interested individual here. Okay. Relieving me and not punishing you of having to repeat that speech I gave earlier. Is there anyone who is in? Is there anyone interested in party status? Okay, hearing none, there will be an opportunity if you'd like to make a comment or ask a question at the end of the presentation of the case by the applicant. So thank you for that. Okay.
Thank you. Will you please swear in our witnesses? Thank you. Will you state your names for the record, please?
Name is Callowhill Pike.
Will you help us with the spelling, please?
KSTII. ISAI.
Thank you.
Scott McMacken. I believe I gave you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Now you may proceed with your case.
Thank you for your time this evening. My name is Scott McMacken with Allen Associates. I'm the engineer for the project. The property, as mentioned, is located on 104 South Limekiln Pike. It's tax parcel 268143. On the board in front of you is the plan that was submitted with the application. So I don't think I need to mark it as an applicant's exhibit. The property currently is about 3.2 acres in size, which is the gross area. The net area is about 2.8 acres in size once you remove the area of the property on the frontage that's in the right of way. Currently existing on the property is an existing single family dwelling that was constructed in about 1860. There's a barn on the property, a detached garage, and some other associated improvements. The proposal is to construct a B3 single family semi-detached dwelling on the property, and that's kind of highlighted in dark here. There's going to be two driveways and two single family attached dwellings. The proposal is to subdivide the property. When we were looking at the potential development for the property for the property owner, we noted to him that the minimum lot size for single family detached dwellings is 1 acre in the RR district, which is where this is located. With taking out the right of way, we're down to 2.8 acres in total lot size for the property. So we're just under the limit that would have been permitted to have a 3-lot subdivision with single family homes. We would have needed 3 acres. We only have about 2.8 acres. So the alternative that we looked at in the ordinance is for this current proposal, which is the single family semi-detached, which is permitted by special exception in the RR district. And that use requires only 15,000 square feet per lot. So that was something that we felt that was, basically permitted by the zoning ordinance, albeit under a special exception, but permitted use under the ordinance. So that's really the purpose of our being here tonight. We are seeking that particular use again, which is permitted by section 305 and P3, and part in section 306 that allows it use by special exception. So the proposal is to have 3 lots. The existing homestead essentially is going to be on the lot to the north, and that lot's going to end up being about 1.47 acres in size. You're going to have a second lot here in kind of the middle of the property. That's going to be net about 20,440 square feet. So it's going to be about a little over 5,000 square feet above the minimum requirement for that particular lot. And then the last lot will be on the southern portion of the property. And that lot will turn out to be about 37,822 feet. So that's going to be a good bit larger than the minimum for particular use. We did take a look at, the standards. It's gonna meet all the other performance standards for the R zoning district in terms of setbacks, impervious coverage, those types of all those performance standards. So we will meet those requirements. We did look at the requirements in the zoning ordinance for the special exception. There's a list of general requirements and standards, and we do feel that this particular proposal does meet those. There's comments in your ordinance, section 3103. Comments about it's in accordance with the comprehensive plan, consistent with the spirit and intent of the zoning ordinance, in the best interest of the community, and improvement of the property is suitable for the property in question. It's in conformance with the ordinance, suitable in terms of highway traffic and safety. And accordance with town standards and subdivision. We did take a look at that. We feel it's in compliance. Did take a look at the comprehensive plan, which is referenced in the standards. And it is located in what's called the Development District 2. Which is the development district in the township that promotes mixed uses. It's the highest density development area in the township. It's served by public water and sewer, and it's kind of where the anticipated development of this kind takes place. So we do feel that it meets the intent of that ordinance as well. We will obviously still need to go through all the subdivision process. We haven't started that yet. This is our first step. Because obviously we need to see what the board feels if there's any conditions as part of the special exception hearing. But we still need to go through the subdivision process, so we haven't fine-tuned the land development application yet. But the intent is to have the driveways come off of 152, and essentially, I think since it meets all the other requirements, probably looks very similar to what it's in front of you. So I do have just a street view of the property, just to kind of give you guys a flavor of what the property currently looks like.
My main question was confirming that, is it the ball fields that are across the street? Or what's across the street? Or I mean, further down, those are further up, I'm sorry.
Yeah, this is mainly single family residential.
But what? No, I know, I just realized I had it upside down. What I'm more interested, is there anything across the street from where that driveway is going?
Not sure exactly where the driveway.
Can you tell, Chuck, by looking at it?
Yes.
This is
I'm gonna mark this, by the way, this street
A1.
view is A1.
Yeah. So this is kind of looking, if you're coming south on Route 152, the existing single family dwelling are kind of on the right side of the picture. So you're kind of looking south across the property. You can kind of see here. So if you're here on the road, you can kind of see the existing single family house, and you're looking across the property. So you can kind of see it's pretty much flat, open meadow. Not much grade. There's a small roadside swale, but otherwise it's pretty much open ground.
Existing structures. So it's really, so it's down here. So the proposal is down here.
Okay.
Where this driveway is really in the existing lot.
Got it, okay. It's a PennDOT issue, but.
No, understood.
And a subdivision issue.
But it always helps.
Yeah, this will need, subdivision approval. It's on a state road. We're gonna need. Like this and all that stuff. So that's why I mentioned we may have to tweak it as we go through the process. This step of we best in the steps that are required, but,
It-
just looking at it, it looks like it should work. Close to it.
Yeah. So we don't appear to be cryptic. It appears from the overhead, the driveway and the property across the street is more aligned with the auxiliary structures on what will be your lot. It's the way it appears. So. Which again, that's not necessarily germane. It's not necessarily our issue, but we're not trying to.
No, understood. No, I appreciate that.
You did mention that the existing house has public utilities, like sewer and water. So the proposed houses would not need a well or septic.
We don't anticipate that, no. Again, we're gonna be looking into that. Assuming we'll be looking at providers and locating them. It is in the public sewer service area, the Callowhill 37 and the public water service area.
There's lots of things. Well, maybe the one is, but. Okay.
So what is the current usage of the existing original home? Is that, are you living there, residing there, or what's,
He's renting it from,
it's being rented?
it's being rented for.
And looking at this plan, then it's basically just one big driveway, like a shared driveway, there's no.
That's the proposal currently, yeah. Again, that may change depending on what PennDOT says. Find it, they typically like to have fewer cuts onto their roads than more, so that's kind of why we're showing it that way. For some reason they want it separated, we can certainly do that, but I don't think that's.
No, I wouldn't see.
So really that, that is, pretty straightforward project in terms of, what we're looking to accomplish. If you do have any questions for me. for us, answer.
What's the impetus to make the two lots so different from each other? Why not try to balance them out? I'm just curious why one's so narrow and skinny and one's so, I know there's a bend of the curvature of the road a little bit, but why the?
Yeah, that's, the driveway, we're trying to center and yeah, there is a little bit of a bend as you head south. So we don't want to get too close to that bend because it will affect sight distance. There's on the adjoining property to the south, there's a kind of a grove of trees that kind of sticks out. So if you get too far south, it looks like to me that you might affect sight distance a little bit. The difference in lot sizes is where we're replacing the driveway and the house, and keeping the lot line radial going straight back. I mean, we could angle it to get a little bit more area on lot 2 and take away a little bit from lot 3, but it's still not going to be, they're still going to be somewhat different.
You identified, Scott, like an area where the stormwater management will go?
Not yet, honestly, we haven't, if we have to look at, I haven't looked in detail at that's what's gonna be required if we need to do infiltration testing. Those are all factors that may determine where it's gonna lay out. I mean, I suspect some, probably will be maybe underneath the driveway or something like that. It does drain that way, so. The site drains basically from.
Looks like it's up a hill and it comes down towards the house.
Yeah, it really drains. The high point here. Basically south and north. So I would see something probably maybe under the driveway. Might, depending on the building, might. Put them over here. I think that's, we'll have to look at some soil condition.
So the existing homes behind it, Keely's, the Cooks, the water runs away from their property, the ones that front on the North Lane.
Correct, yeah, their water actually drains down through this lot, where everything drains down That's south and north direction, and then there's, I think you can see on that, on A1 there's kind of a roadside swale that runs down along. Down along line.
Oh, yeah. Okay, thank you.
And the proposal is to be a two-story home?
Yes.
Inside.
Nothing further?
That's all we have to direct, yeah.
Thank you.
Accept exhibit A1.
Folks, now be the time if you would like to ask a question or make a comment that is relevant and germane to the case. Now be the opportunity. The only thing I ask you to do is to state your name and your address for the record.
John Jones, 113 North Lane. So I share a property line with that proposed lot 2. My assumption is, and I don't think they're there yet with the utilities. My assumption would be that the sewage would come off the existing house on proposed lot 1. Water, or I know that house on lot 1 comes off of North Lane, right by my property. So that would be my concern, where they are actually getting the water from.
Again, we're gonna have to look into that as part of the subdivision process.
Just a minute.
Hang on,
We're gonna finish this question.
We're gonna finish this one.
He doesn't really have an answer
Yeah.
Right.
for that
That was just
question.
to try to resolve that for you at the moment.
I
But
think once this gets settled, and they will do that assumption.
yes, this is just the use, meaning the description of the type of residence, but the utilities to it and how they get there, that would be all addressed during the planning commission and subdivision phase. Which will be public hearings, much like, well, different than this one, but public.
Go through, what do they would have to come to.
So it actually runs about 2 feet off, all the way back to that.
Or if you haven't, if you know, maybe you might look into your own property and see if you have any easements. Because if there's an easement, it could be by right through the easement.
NO and yes.
Do you have any other questions, sir?
Yeah.
Ma'am?
No, I didn't answer, but I don't have a question about that.
Very good.
I'm Jane Martin, I live at 102 Limekiln Pike. I've been there for 65 years. My neighbor, Beth Walter, and she grew up in the house on the 104 property. When it was very beautiful. And I'm just curious about what's going on. I know there was a problem with the swale that goes between 102 and 104. And they had originally tried to use it for the development in back of me, where you live. And that totally flooded my side yard. That can't be used as a swale. Been through that a long time ago. Other than that, I don't have too many questions. I'm wondering if that's still gonna be a rental property, the home that is existing there,
I believe so, yes.
to the same people? 'Cause
Well,
it's
that's
essentially-
not really a question that can be answered, and it really has nothing to do with this application, unfortunately.
Well, it's not. It's
Well,
not
I know,
rented-
but we're
it's
here
not
for-
rented to a family. Let me
It-
put it that way.
Okay, that's something then you need to call the zoning officer during business hours if you feel like there's something not per the use of what it's zoned. But you know, if you do have concerns about stormwater management because of the new lots, that's an absolute concern that we want to hear about.
Right, are you concerned about stormwater? Couldn't impact your property?
Well, in a way, it's very similar to the answer that we provided for the previous question. In that is yet to be determined and will be a part of the process when they have plans, which will be public meetings as well, public hearings as well.
Yeah.
At which stage you can get those specific questions answered with the fully developed plan and the relevant officials.
If you're computer savvy, just keep tabs on the website for when the agendas go up for board and commissioner and planning commission meetings, and you'll see the address and you'll know when it's coming, but you have to be diligent about looking it up.
Thank you.
So for your information, it appears that the proposed is to the south of that of 104 from your property. It looks like it'll be on the other side. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. We will go off the record.
So Chuck's at the beginning. You didn't write the ordinance. This ordinance allows it. That's correct. The way it is.
That's correct. Okay, we'll go back on the record. Do I have a motion?
To approve the special exception with the normal standards.
The normal standards by means of conditions you require all other township, county, federal approvals are required as part of the project.
Do I have a second?
Second,
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, thank you. You have relief. You'll get a written decision within 45 days from today.
Thank you.
Good luck with your project.
Thank you for your time.
With that. We're done.
Fine. Yes, we are adjourned.